Welcome to the Exposer. So today I'll be exposing Spac Nation Evangelist and former X Factor contestant Armstrong Martin. Armstrong is originally from Finchley, North London, and he also has 3 other siblings that attend Spac Nation as pastors and ministers and evangelists. So Armstrong was a troubled kid and has had to face responsibility from a young age because he had children at such a young age. So Armstrong's dream is to become a singer. He participated on The Voice Nigeria, where he got through to the live shows and did okay. When he returned to England, he was back at Pastor Toby's house. Pastor Toby would give him a lot of things. Pastor Toby would give him clothes, he would let him wear his watch, give him money from time to time. So Pastor Toby looked after Armstrong like Armstrong was his child. That's because Pastor Toby knew that Armstrong had a lot of potential and could potentially make this singing dream become a reality. So it was almost like an investment, hoping that Armstrong becomes something. Armstrong is also part of the choir at Spac Nation. So he would often join the choir and play his guitar while he sings. He does it often also at his fellowship groups. He idolizes PT at a very high level. Like he sees Pastor Toby as his biological father. He sees Pastor Toby as God, almost. His addiction to Pastor Toby has gone to another level, to a point where Armstrong has tattooed Spac Nation on his neck and has also tattooed the date of birth of Pastor Toby, which is the 11th of November. Toby has groomed Armstrong for such a long time, and he has given Armstrong a few things. So now Armstrong feels indebted to Pastor Toby for the rest of his life, because he feels that Pastor Toby gave him a home when he had nowhere to stay. But Armstrong does not understand why Pastor Toby has done this. So in his mind, Pastor Toby did this, just helped him because he wanted to help him. He doesn't understand that Pastor Toby moved Armstrong into his house only because he knew that Armstrong had a lot of potential. This isn't exposing where I'll be telling you Armstrong has asked anyone to take out loans or anything as such. This is basically to let you guys know that there's people at Spac Nation like Armstrong, people that actually are trying to achieve something. And you have Spac Nation who are holding these people back, because Spac Nation want these guys to know that they made them. So these guys now become like slaves. So everything they do, they need to include Spac Nation in it. And with Armstrong, it's even deeper, to a point where the guy has tattooed his pastor's date of birth on his neck. So you guys can understand how bad it is. And that's just one of the members. There's members at Spac Nation who look at Pastor Toby like he is God. So they need people like Armstrong to know that Spac Nation has made them, so that if these guys become successful with their music, they'll end up giving almost everything they have to Spac Nation. So it's almost like an investment, because he does have a talent. So you guys saw Armstrong went on the X Factor and got through to the live shows. He was voted off on his first live performance, but the build-up to his performance on X Factor was the main issue. He wanted to represent Spac Nation so much. Pastor Toby was seen more on ITV than Armstrong was. Toby saw it as an opportunity because he knew that if Armstrong got far, with all the following he started to get, he could bring them to Spac Nation. And Toby himself wanted to be seen by the whole world. He wanted everyone to acknowledge him, because he's a guy with an ego. Toby wants the popularity. He wants to be famous, because getting money from his church has made him become more and more arrogant. He likes to flash his wealth, and he likes the whole world to praise him and talk about him. So he spent a lot of time on the X Factor doing interviews and talking about Spac Nation, instead of letting Armstrong concentrate on his music. So this was one of the downfall for Armstrong. And on Armstrong's first live performance, Armstrong ended up rapping, and he used Spac Nation in his verses. So you guys can see, this is a big platform, a big opportunity for him, and he used that platform to talk about Spac Nation. And again, he was voted off. This is what happens. Pastor Toby done the same thing with Jade for her campaign, and she lost. With Gifty, Pastor Toby felt like he could help her with her career. Her career hasn't kicked off. It's gone worse since she's gone to Spac Nation. So you can see, Toby is desperate for his church to be seen. Every opportunity he gets, he doesn't allow these young people to focus on their talent and to focus on performing. Instead, he wants them to focus on him and remember that he's the reason they are where they are. So even before the X Factor, Armstrong was ordained as an evangelist. That's because they knew that Armstrong and his personality, he's a guy that's fearless. He will talk to anybody. And like I mentioned, he has a quite weird way of behaving, but it can work out for the best sometimes. So one time, Armstrong made a connection. He went to fix, or should I say decorate, someone's house, or paint, I believe. And the guy's house that he went to paint was a millionaire. So Armstrong invited that guy to Spac Nation, and the guy came, and Pastor Toby automatically allowed the rich guy to come and preach on a Sunday, just because Pastor Toby knew that this guy had money. And he was a connection from Armstrong. The guy he came to Spac Nation because of Armstrong. The guy even said he would buy Spac Nation a building. The guy gave a testimony, and he mentioned that he had a kid that was suffering, and he wanted his kid to join a place like Spac Nation because he's tried everything for his kid. He's given his kid all the money in the world, but his kid still needs help. So he felt like being involved with Spac Nation could help his kid. So the guy came to Spac Nation a couple times and never returned. These are the type of people that Armstrong was trying to bring to Spac Nation. People of importance, people that have money. That's the reason why they knew making him evangelist was the right thing to do, because he's a fearless person and he will speak to anybody. To my knowledge, Armstrong has never asked anybody to take out a loan. And I don't think Armstrong himself has even taken out loans, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because anything Pastor Toby asked him to do, he will do. And it's dangerous because now Armstrong has a decent following on social media because of the X Factor. And he has built a few connections because of the X Factor. So he might end up bringing people to Spac who might end up getting exploited by other members or by Pastor Toby. Armstrong isn't trying to exploit anyone himself, because, like I mentioned, people that know him will know that Armstrong is just in his own world. His mind is somewhere else. He's a young man who's trying to make something out of nothing for himself, but he's part of a corrupted organization and he's being used to do these things. So it's important that I put people like Armstrong out there. So we can't allow people like Armstrong to influence young kids or even adults to join Spac Nation, because we all know what this organization is part of. I know it's difficult because he's been at Spac Nation for a long time and he's lived with Pastor Toby, and he's got an older sister there and a younger sister and an older brother at Spac Nation. He needs to open his eyes and get his whole family out of that place. Pastor Toby has groomed Armstrong for a young age, people, so we need to understand people like Armstrong are victims. He's a victim, and he will never see it the way that we see it because of the grooming, because he has been trained to think the way he's thinking now, and because he probably sees himself as being one of PT's favorites. He doesn't feel the pain that other young people feel. He's never had to suffer like some of the other members who are left in debt. PT has specifically some members around him, and Armstrong is one of the kids that he likes to have around him because of his energy and his fearlessness and the fact that he knows this young man has potential to become something. So we must expose people like this also, so that it can raise awareness to other members at Spac Nation who may feel like I might not expose them because they haven't done anything. You will still get exposed because you are part of the organization, and you will be exposed because you are bringing souls, young souls, to Spac Nation who are being exploited. You might not be the one doing it, you're still bringing them for other people to exploit them, and you're fully aware that it's going on at Spac Nation. You're fully aware that this is the system, because I know every single pastor at Spac Nation have the same rule. They all have lines and money to make, so I know they all think the same way. So all these evangelists at Spac Nation who are not actually asking people to take out loans are fully aware that when they bring a member to Spac Nation, another leader will ask that person to take out a loan. So you're all part of it. So if I was you guys, I would leave right now. Own up to your mistakes. So this is the exposing of Armstrong Martin.